What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Now, I'm back with my original segment, Boxing Ego's First Look, which is my Tale of the Tape series, a sneak peek, a preview of the fight before the fight. And now, a fight I'm looking forward to, it goes down Brooklyn, New York, Barclays Center, July 29th, live on Showtime Boxing. Adrien the Problem Broner, the 4-division world champion, and a 3-division world champion, Mikey Garcia. Broner versus Garcia, again on Showtime Championship Boxing. I'm looking forward to this fight a lot. I think this is a good fight. They picked a new hotbed venue in New York, so no one has a hometown advantage. Mikey Garcia being out of Oxnard, Broner being from the Midwest, Cincinnati. It's a neutral location. It's going to be on Showtime. Congrats and shout out to Showtime. They've been giving us great fights consistently on their regular premium network. Not a bunch of pay-per-views, even though Mayweather versus McGregor will be on pay-per-view. They're giving us these fights, and a lot of them happen to be on free TV or just the regular premium network. So shout out to Showtime and again, Premier Boxing Champs. Now this event is being put together by DIBELLA Entertainment, Mayweather Promotions, and of course Broner's About Billions Promotions. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a good fight. The fight is campaigned at 140, which we'll get to in the tail of the tape. Mikey Garcia is moving up 5 pounds, and there's some good variables. I was surprised with the odds, no matter who you're picking, but they had at the moment Broner a 5-1 underdog, and he's the guy who has more experience at this weight. He has several fights at 140. He fought Carlos Molina, Khabib Alikverdiev. He fought against way more competition at higher weights. Emmanuel Taylor. He fought Maidana, Porter, Malignaggi, all over 144. So he clearly has that. He also has hand speed. But then you look at Mikey Garcia, he's a thinker. He doesn't waste punches. He showed an excellent jab in his last fight. I was there live. I covered that fight for the channel. And he knocked out Dejan Zlaticanin, who was a champion. That was his first fight at lightweight, and he destroyed him. He controlled him with the jab, excellent jab, just popped it out. Very methodical performance, and he knows what to do in there. Mikey Garcia, you've seen, he was in there with the puncher. If I'm not mistaken, Dejan Zlaticanin's knockout percentage was right around high 80s to 90%, so he was known for having a punch. And Mikey was even more aggressive, so you got to give him credit, because that stuff, I noticed Floyd Mayweather does that when he's fighting southpaws or certain styles. He'll be more aggressive, and that makes sense, because you never want to give a puncher confidence, because like they say, it's boxing. One punch can change anything. So Mikey Garcia, being new to the weight, coming off of a long dry spell of inactivity, he had legal issues with Top Rank, trying to get released from the contract. He was the guy who he was on the sidelines while Dejan Zlaticanin was more active. Didn't have the biggest name, but he was a champion. He won that WBC belt. The rest is history. So both guys are risking stuff. For Broner, since he has more experience at higher weights north of 140 pounds, he's risking kind of his reputation, because if he loses to Mikey Garcia, that's going to be a step back. Most people are considering him the guy who's bigger. You don't want to lose to a guy coming up. You know what I mean? For Mikey Garcia, he's risking something, because if he loses, especially if he were to lose in a bad fashion, he's a champion at lightweight, so he could have just kind of stayed there. And depending on what type of loss it is for either, who knows what's next for them. So I'm looking forward to the fight. Both guys seem motivated. They're being pretty cordial towards each other. Broner says, I like the Garcias. They're cool people, but I'm calling them Mickey Mouse. So he's doing a little bit of showmanship. Broner says, I want to thank everyone who showed up. I've been in crazy situations. I'm blessed to be here. I'm training hard, and I think this will be one of the best performances of my career. This will take me to the superstar level where I need to be. I heard Mikey is a big favorite. They aren't giving me much of a chance. I hope no one puts their house against me in this fight, because it won't work out well for you. This fight will definitely bring out the best of me, because Mikey isn't a sloppy fighter. He isn't an awkward fighter. Don't get me wrong. He's a Mexican, but he boxes like an African American, and that's a fair assessment, I would say. Obviously, you can't stereotype anybody's style, but he doesn't fight the traditional quote-unquote Mexican style, come forward, brawler, tough, cojones, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he doesn't have those things or he doesn't have that side to him, but he, like I said earlier, he's more methodical. He's a thinker, similar, just like kind of Canelo. Canelo doesn't fight the same way Orlando Salido fights. You know what I mean? Throw caution to the wind type. So every guy has a different style and does what's best for them. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a good fight. They look up like they match up well, and I know Mikey Garcia has been looking for these big opportunities. Obviously, being on the sideline as long as he was, dealing with Top Rank, you guys got to understand this as a boxing fan, and just put your shoes or put yourself in the mindset, I guess you could say, of the boxer. Mikey Garcia, he was doing damage in the 120-pound weight divisions, right? He was beating Rocky Martinez and knocked Salido down 4 times, and he fought Carlos Abreu or Juan Carlos Burgos, and he was kind of in the prime of his career, and all of a sudden he had this issue with Top Rank, and he was just, all that just came to a screeching halt, and he had nothing to do without getting that sorted out, and it took a while to get that sorted out, right? So it's going to be a good fight. I'm looking forward to pure action. Now let's take a look at the tail of the tape. Adrien "The Problem" Broner has a record of 33 with 2 losses. Those 2 losses came at the hands of Shawn Porter and also against Chino Marcos Maidana. And those were at higher weights, as I mentioned earlier, so he hasn't lost at 140. Mikey Garcia has a perfect, unblemished record of 36-0, so slightly, just a little bit of a few more fights than Adrien Broner. And the good thing I like about these fights is the fights I always, every time I go to make these tail of the tapes, and then I get all the stats and gather all the information, the fights that I think are 50-50 or very close fights on paper, you look at the actual stats and it matches up so well. Broner has almost as many fights as, he has 35 fights total, and Garcia has 36. Age pretty close. Adrien Broner is slightly younger. He's 27 years old. Mikey Garcia is 29 years old. They are both listed at 5'6". I was looking at the face-off. Sometimes the listed height can be slightly different, but depending on the shoes, things like that, they looked about the same when I was looking at pictures of them and looking at the footage of them facing off in New York at the press conference. This fight will take place at 140 pounds. That is the weight. This is something of interest to me. Broner, his last fight was supposed to happen in the low 140s, I believe, versus Adrian Granados. He claims he was sick during training camp, and they contacted the Granados team and said, hey, for this fight to continue, it has to happen at welterweight 147. Granados, seizing the moment and not wanting to lose his opportunity against Broner, he accepted that. But for this fight, there's a stiff penalty. It's like $500,000, $500,000 or something if Broner comes in overweight. Broner has done it aside from the Granados fight, in his fight with Vicente Escobedo. In the John Molina fight, he weighed in, I believe, 1 pound over, but there was like a technicality, so the fight was able to continue because the contracted weight there, I think they switched it, and then also the Ashley Theophane, he had issue with the weight, where the weight was slightly changed, if I'm not mistaken. So Broner has had some issue making the 140 mark. I've seen some recent training videos. He looks in shape, but the last 5-10 pounds are usually the hardest to go. So we'll have to see how he looks on the scale. But Broner, when it comes to fight time, I haven't seen him look really lethargic, like making weight killed him to the point where he doesn't show heart and skill and technique. And then also the reach, very close, 1 inch difference. Adrien Broner has a reach of 69 inches to Mikey Garcia's 68 inches. So all across the board, this looks like a real good fight. Very close in almost all metrics, size, height, even though Mikey Garcia hasn't fought, well, he fought Elias Roja, but even though he hasn't had many fights at 140, he's still an undefeated fighter. and there's a lot of people that vouch for his power. He's been in there, aside from being a pro, he's been in there with a prime Manny Pacquiao. He sparred with Edwin Valero. I interviewed Mikey Garcia years ago when he first became champion, and he would tell me about the tales of him being young, sparring a powerhouse like Edwin Valero, rest in peace, things like that. So obviously to even spar and get in, and the stories Mikey Garcia was telling me, to have good work with the guy who was further along than you. He was a pro, and I don't know if Mikey Garcia had turned pro at that point. That tells me something. Mikey Garcia also admitted that boxing wasn't his first love. Even though he comes from a boxing family, he was interested in other things, and you've seen that. Even when he had the top rank issue, I believe he went to the police academy or something to that effect to possibly pursue law enforcement. So boxing wasn't his first love, but he comes from a fight family and he's skilled, pays the bills, and he's good at it. So I really like this fight. I think both of them have a ton of experience. Broner has very good, even in his losses, he showed heart to me. You know what I mean? Some people are so quick to post memes and stuff, but you got to look at what he's doing in there. Chino Maidana hurt him bad at least twice, and he showed heart and won some of those later rounds. It actually hurt Chino Maidana. That's another person. Chino Maidana was training in the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy gym, where Mikey Garcia is very familiar with Chino, and Chino, from what I heard, called Mikey like, hey, this dude is strong. I'm telling you, Broner's one of the strongest guys, if not the strongest guy that I've faced. So that's a high credit, because again, people post the memes of Broner getting knocked and his hands swaying through the ropes and getting knocked down, and they rejoice at that, but they're not talking about what Chino is saying, how this dude is strong. He's physically strong. So Mikey has to be careful with that, since he is the one moving up in weight. All in all, this is a great fight. About Billions, Lou DiBella Entertainment, Premier Boxing Champs, Mayweather Promotions, the Garcia family. It's a big opportunity for them. It's a big opportunity for About Billions, the whole squad, to have the leader of About Billions in a big fight where he'll get a lot of credit. At least, I think some people might try to take credit from him, but to me, if he beats Mikey Garcia, he deserves a lot of credit, because Mikey Garcia is a damn good fighter. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your fight predictions. I'm really excited for this one. I think it should deliver, and they also loaded up the card. You got a heavyweight fight with JARRELL Big Baby Miller and Gerald Washington. You also have the #1 and #2 ranked middleweights within the WBC, JERMALL CHARLO, who just recently moved to middleweight, fighting against a guy who's been #1 for a while, #1 mandatory, SEBASTIan HEILAND. Great card in New York. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comments section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.